Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you today. XRP up 20% yesterday. XRP up over 13% today. And get this, ladies and gentlemen, stablecoin legislation, it may be closer than you think. This is getting exciting. And check this out. Blank plus blank equals unstoppable demand for XRP. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content and digperspectives.com as well, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. You can follow us there too. $2.85 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 0.3%. We're close to that 3 trillion mark. 72,200 plus right now for Bitcoin, 4,000 plus for Ethereum, 102 billion plus market cap for Tether, 70 cents for XRP, up 13.3 just earlier, now 13.1 to 24 hour, 7.6 on the 7-day. Range of prices between 61 and 74 cents. Whoa! Watch out. Well, I think there's more to come here, ladies and gentlemen. We will keep an eye on it, but I want to tell you about this. Look, Link2 is running an amazing special, and it's March Madness. And what they're doing is like a tournament style bracket tournament style event, just like March Madness. They pick two companies, and whoever the winner is between the most private equity bought on that day advances forward to the next bracket. Now, the beautiful part about all of this is that there's some special pricing along the way, ladies and gentlemen, so don't miss out. And I also want to tell you, while this is playing out right now, and today's Link2 investment brackets are Circle versus Impossible Foods and Anthropic versus Expansive. So those are the four private equities. We'll see which two make it in advance to the next bracket. This is pretty cool the way they're doing this. And again, watch out for special pricing, and also know that there's also Link2 offers the 3-company bundle. And this has been extremely well received amongst the customers on the platform. So don't lose out on that either, because I tell you, this is a very big deal. People love the Link2 bundle where you can get 3 companies. And today's 3-company bundle is investment in Circle, Uphold, and Light Matter. Okay? So that's awesome. And the Circle within the bundle will be discounted by 10%. So that's the way I understand that. Reach out for Link2 directly to get all the information you need for that. That sounds so fun. Make sure you click the link to my sponsor below and get yourself some private equity. It's March Madness, for goodness sakes. Yeah. The U.S. Federal Reserve has decided to cut its interest rates in June, as a majority of economists advocated for it. Jamie Dimon predicted a 65% chance for a global recession, while he kept silent about the possibility of an impending stagflation. Ugh. Boy, that's not fun at all. Yeah. But let's look at this. While all of that is happening, Bitcoin surpasses silver to become the 8th largest asset by market cap. By the way, it also passed the Swiss franc. How about that one? Remember when Chris Larson said he'd like to see XRP as liquid as the Swiss franc? Well, Bitcoin now is. And I think not too long from now, XRP will be too. What that price will be when it gets there, I don't know. But this is so fun, isn't it? Man, it's nice to see the market turning around. And this is just the beginning, they say. Thailand's SEC greenlights investment from institutional and wealthy individuals into crypto ETFs. Oh, it's spreading, ladies and gentlemen. Those ETFs are taking off like wildfire around the globe. Now, I want to play a piece of this clip for you here. The Bitcoin halving will cut the incoming supply by 50%. You don't have to overthink it. Take a listen from Anthony Pompliano here on Fox.
All right, so Bitcoin sets down to go yet another halving event, probably sometime in the next month. And you got to take a look at this, because it rallied like huge after the last one. This, I think, will be the 4th one to bring a Pomp investor, Anthony Pompliano. And this halving thing. Explain to the audience, or at least let's try to explain to the audience what it is. So we have here the last time it happened. And you can see where Bitcoin was like a 10 grand, sort of, now we're at 70,000. Seems like it could be a good thing.
Let's go back supply and demand, right? If you have a supply and demand stays constant, but supply gets cut in half, obviously the price has to adjust to accommodate everyone. That's what happened back here in 2020. Bitcoin's trading about $8,000. We got a supply that cut in half, and then obviously price runs. Now, what's interesting is right now 900 Bitcoin per day are being produced. If you think in kind of gold terms, that's literally gold being dug out of the ground. This is Bitcoin being produced. It's net new Bitcoin coming into supply. But when we hit this halving occur, we're going to go from 900 to 450. Now, what's interesting is right now, there is the equivalent of 9,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin per day in demand. So already we're at 10x more demand than supply. That's this huge price increase that we've seen. So once we go through this halving, if demand stays the same, we may be at 20 to 25x more demand than what the network is producing every single day. And I think that's why people are so bullish on Bitcoin's price.
And the max will be 21 million, right?
There will only ever be 21 million that are out in circulation. That'll take until 2140. Unfortunately, for most of us that are watching or talking right now, we're going to be dead by then. But 90% of the Bitcoin is already out in circulation, and about 70% of that Bitcoin has not moved. So what ends up happening is you have a very illiquid supply, and then you're going to get it more scarce in terms of the daily incoming supply.
That's what they mean when they say diamond hands.
Listen,
that's real diamond hands.
Bitcoiners are teaching traditional finance investors what it means to truly have conviction, to really hold an asset, and to hold through all that volatility. And what I think is really fascinating here is the people who are now buying the ETF, they realize this is a high volatility asset, but it continues to go up over a very long period of time. And so the volatility in the short term forces you to be a long-term holder, and it actually reinforces many of the best financial kind of lessons that we've learned over the decades.
I think the last 11 years, the number one asset, 8 of those, of course, the 3 it wasn't. It was a worse performing asset, but it's worked out if you held it. Let's talk about these ETFs. So here it is right here. Look at this. So demand is really just, and you called this right here. How much, I mean, does this feed on itself?
So what's really interesting is Larry Fink, kind of the king of Wall Street, he went and he pushed Bitcoin to an all-time high. When BlackRock said, we want a Bitcoin ETF, they're 575 in one, they're now 576 in one in terms of approvals. And so they were able to help do this. They ushered in not only themselves, Fidelity, many others. Now, what's fascinating to me is you're not only seeing net new interest in these ETFs, you're also seeing BlackRock specifically say, wait a second, if we have access to Bitcoin now, maybe we want to put Bitcoin in our other funds, things like their bond funds or maybe their income funds. And so I think that Bitcoin is now going to become a standard asset that's put in every portfolio. You see Fidelity in Canada saying 1 to 5% in all portfolios. But I think on Wall Street, people are realizing if I put an asset with a 2.1 Sharpe ratio into my portfolio, it's up 70% or so to start the year. That is going to give me a better overall performance. It's going to change the risk return profile of my current portfolio. And that's going to lead to billions of dollars in the short term and likely going to be trillions of dollars over the long run going into this asset. And if you only have 21 million and demand continues to go up, the price has to appreciate.
Well, there you have it right there from Anthony Pompliano. I know he's feeling it, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. My Bitcoin gains inside of the I Trust Capital IRA. Did you click the link underneath the video so you could have tax-free crypto too when you're 59? Because that's what I did. You should think about it. It might be the best fit for you. Look right here. The Biden administration is proposing a 30% tax on electricity used by Bitcoin miners. Now, what you got to go and do that for? Right in the middle of a run, trying to get up in my portfolio like that. Come on now. Everybody's having fun, and you come here and want to poo-poo it all. Well, listen, this is all jokes aside. We have to really pay attention to this because if this solidifies, you're going to want to think about the position you're in and how it could affect all this very good news that Anthony Pompliano talked about, right? So head on a swivel. This is a high-risk place to be in, high-risk space to be in. So head on a swivel about all of this. We can have fun with the gains. We enjoy it. But don't take your eye off the ball. Don't, these are a lot of, the ground is moving underneath of us, right? So we have to constantly monitor what's going on. So I just wanted to share that. Then, of course, as we know, right, the SEC and Gary Gensler. And if you're not following Michael Branch, can you give him a follow? 11,800 people. This should be 111,000 people, for God's sakes. Let's give Michael a follow. He's incredible. But the court deals a major blow to US SEC, and it's over the Binance case where they tried to submit the Wahi decision as supplemental authority. Remember that? They got the Wahi decision to the SEC's favor because no one showed up because the Wahi brother actually fled. And they forgot to tell the judge in the Binance case, oh, by the way, this was a judgment that came because no one showed up to court. They forgot that part, right? Well, the court will not consider supplemental authority filed by the US SEC. Binance and the US SEC can cite new cases if they'd like, but they may not be discussed for their primary arguments. Okay, there you go, Gary. That got shot down. What's next? What's the next lie? Now let's listen to Fred Rispoli here on Tony's Thinking Crypto and about the outcome and what to pay attention to when it comes to the SEC versus Ripple case. It's a nice clip here from both of these gentlemen. Take a listen.
Let's talk about SEC versus Ripple. I believe there's a trial coming up in April. Is that correct? And what can we expect, as far as next steps?
Incorrect. There's no trial. It's just briefing. And so, but this has taken on a little bit more of importance than a lot of people are giving it. And if you look at some of my X threads on it, I've kind of talked about it, but I always thought that SEC was going to try and re-argue the case in this remedies briefing based on everything that's happened after the fact. And what I mean by that is ODL, new contracts, all of that. And what the SEC, when we saw that discovery dispute that came out where they're like, give us your contracts, Ripple, and Ripple was like, no. I mean, Ripple was never going to win that. But what they're going to try and do is say, everything that you're doing now and will do in the future is basically a securities transaction like Judge Torres said certain ones were, which he called, quote, institutional sales. So SEC is still trying to go for the jugular as much as they can. And if Ripple was smart, and they are, so hopefully they did it well enough, they would have immediately changed all of their sales to institutions to be as best outside of what Judge Torres ruled were securities transactions. Yeah. And so Ripple is going to fight that out in the briefing over the next 2 months. The SEC's filing their damages motion end of this month or towards the end of this month. Ripple's got a month to file their opposition and then another essential month for the SEC to do their reply. Judge Torres will sit on it for 2 to 4 months and she'll make a ruling. And that'll be really important because that is going to get into ODL, new contracts, how Ripple's doing business now. We'll get a glimpse into how all that's going. I'm sure Ripple will file some things under seal. There'll be a little battle about that, but this is very important because it's going to really affect how Ripple does their business going forward.
No doubt about it. And shout out to Freddie and Tony for that clip. And, I am excited to find out what's going to be perceived by Judge Torres about these institutional sales in this last piece of the case. It still exists. And you know what? If it goes like the way Freddie's talking about, maybe this thing does end this year. How exciting would that be to have it completely resolved? And then what would be the issue holding everybody back? It's nothing more than regulatory legislative clarity. And we've got something on that front in a second. Let's not forget the immense potential in unlocking liquidity and tokenized economy, because Ripple reminded us. And let's not forget this. Riz says here, shout out to Riz XRP sent me this, settled, ? Dr. Martin Heisboik says, we finally seeing the fruits of increased development on XRP since the lawsuit was settled. And XRP ETP is around the corner too. There is life in the old girl. You damn right, baby. You're damn right, Dr. Martin Heisboik. Shout out to him. I don't mind telling you, you're going to have the CEO on stage from Uphold. You're not going to want to miss what goes on there, talking about Ripple partnership, white labeling for the banks from Uphold. I tell you, we got so much going on for this conference. Do not miss it. Get your ticket before it's gone. And then Brad Garlinghouse, as we pointed out yesterday and this morning, Brad Garlinghouse pinpoints the surge in Bitcoin ETF volume as a key factor influencing the uptrend in the crypto market. And you know what? This is like the super cool part right here. We covered this morning's video and on Twitter yesterday when we shared it. But I want to show you this right here where he says something very key here. This is very key to me. When he points out here that, the volume's been soaring, we're due to for a halving, broader crypto market is following Bitcoin's lead as historically been the case. And it says here, as someone who's experienced multiple cycles of the crypto is back, it's imperative that this bullishness go hand in hand with the real world utility. That's the real and inevitable march to progress. And something I didn't mention that I meant to, and I want to just touch again very quickly here is, think about what he's saying. There's the demand for these new things, these new products, right? And that's great. That's what I'm taking from this. I'm not saying it's what he's saying. This is what I take from this, right? This is great. Bitcoin's leading. The volumes have been soaring. The ETFs are success. That's huge. But what's really going to matter is when we get real world utility moving hand in hand. That is the march of progress. And he's absolutely right. And I want to highlight right here this little thing that may help take us to that march of progress. Well, there's been a lot of people that make fun of our macro stance, and we talk about BRICS coalition, and it's ridiculous. It's never going to happen, and it's not going to. We've been beat up for years talking about this, but guess what? Ron Hammond is now talking about what a key point that BRICS and the new payment system they're working on are really a national security risk. Look at this. He says, Russia and China creating a new blockchain payment system to rival Western ones, like SWIFT, could be the national security risk that makes the U.S. Congress move on stablecoin legislation. Or at least bring folks to the table. Isn't this what we've been saying? BRICS coalition, national security risk, national security issue. He who has the gold makes the rules. He who controls the payment rails runs the world. That's how Cristian Carlos said it once. This is why I'm here. I'm not here to chase green candles. I'm here because I'm an American patriot, and I recognize what this asset and XRP Ledger and Ripple the company are here to do. And it's serve in a capacity at global scale right here. Now, some may argue and say, well, XRP is not a stable coin. Well, after March 22nd, I don't know if you'll be able to make that statement anymore if you're a regulator. Because I'm not concerned about someone else in this space, how they see it. I want to know how a regulator, more importantly, a prudential regulator, like people from the U.S. Treasury, does Susan Friedman see it that way? Because she's at Ripple and she came from the Treasury. Does Craig Phillips see it that way? Because he came from the Treasury and went to Ripple. Does Michael S. Barr see it that way? Because he came from the Treasury, helped architect the Dodd-Frank Act, which birthed the Financial Stability Oversight Council, and then went after being a Ripple advisor to now being the vice president of the Federal Board of Governors. And you know what he's doing while he's there? Architecting stablecoin legislation to boot. How about Rosie Rios, the 43rd Treasurer of the United States of America? Is it a mistake that all these people from the Treasury just happen to be at Ripple? Would they ever risk their illustrious political careers to go to a startup after serving at the Treasury? This is why I'm here. I think I see a way forward, and I think Congress is starting to at least have the conversation, if not see the way forward too, that stablecoin legislation is just as important as any topic for discussion right now on Capitol Hill, even with the geopolitical conflicts that are taking place. Because if you don't get the payment system right and you don't control the payment rails, then someone else will. And how are you going to move all of this value around the world once it's all tokenized? Stablecoins and CBDCs, ladies and gentlemen. Let's listen to the crypto sniper tell us how we get to the road to 16 bucks. I just want him to be right. Shout out to Crypto Sniper.
What we've actually got here is the new target. Now you can see that this could indeed be a highly momentous triggering event. And when we do 76, if we do it on balance of probabilities, that will actually make our first interim, which is at around, wait for it, 75 odd cents, 75, 73 cents. Isn't that awesome? Confluence of levels. What will you get? A little bit of pullback. Everyone who doesn't have HVF method will say he's wrong, it's reversing. But then we move up to the 90s, 92 cents as a second interim. Again, a little bit of a pullback, maybe not so much momentum. And then if we get up here, this is where we're looking, guys. 132. Now you're going, hey, that ain't $16. You said $16. No, it's the small little domino knocking over the middle-sized domino that's now giving us a level that will give us our third high we needed for the macro setup on XRP to run $16, $17.
And there you have it right there. It's a domino effect. You got to hit these levels as you go up. That's what continues to show these technical analysts that the tools they're using and the indicators are playing out to the side that they want to see it play out, right? That's the key, right? So if we continue to see these smaller dominoes knock over and make these points, these price points, then it starts to show a much stronger case to ultimately reach the $16, $17. Hey, that's where we are on this day. I've got to go. If you want to see a video in the Freedom Zone and the stuff we cover, you should check out the one I just did this morning on one of the most, I can't even say it out here because I don't want to, but it involves the World Economic Forum. And I tell you right now, I know you know generally what they're about and it's not good, but I'll tell you this, you need to know exactly the way they're thinking, and you're going to find out exactly that inside the Freedom Zone. Make sure you check it out. Join us, digperspectives.com. Click the button and join the Freedom Zone for next to nothing. It costs almost nothing. And listen, if you want to be around like-minded people, this is the place to be, the DPMG, because I'm going to tell you right now, these are people here who are looking to change their life, not only create the wealth in this space, but protect it and maintain it. And the only way to do that is to get in the right mindset and have the right community around you to make sure you can draw on those resources to make the best decision for you and your family. No doubt about it. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into the Freedom Zone. All right.